Good morning and welcome back to day 5 of the storage bench. This is just sitting there, not glued up. I just wanted to try a little dry fit this morning, so everything looks great. I still have to add some more cleats to the inside of this. I videotaped a little bit yesterday afternoon, which you'll see next, and then I'll continue today with assembling the rest of the bench. Enjoy. Okay, so all I'm going to do now is I'm going to spread a little bit of glue on the bottom of this divider panel. We'll slide it into this dado and I'll screw it in. As I do that, I just want to make sure that this is perfectly flush right on top so that when we put the rest of the trim piece on, this will line up. I'll do the same on the next one. Okay, now that I have this divider panel assembly all glued together, we can lift that up and out, and that's ready to go for when we do the full assembly, which is coming up next. Okay, so I've got everything out, ready to go for the final assembly of the storage bench. I've got my glue brush, my glue, and I've got some screws to hold in the divider panel through my cleats, and I've got a mallet and a block to protect the wood as I bang it in if I have to. All right, so first I'm gonna apply glue to my mortises. We're gonna put in the end panels. I'll apply glue to the front assembly mortises, and then I'll put that on, and then we'll lower the dividers in. All right, so take a look. Assembly glues up and dries, I'm going to run the top through our drum sander. All right, take a look. All right, that ought to do it. Now I'll just go over it with the random orbit sander with 120 grit, 180 grit. I'll cut it down to size and it'll be ready to put on the final product. Okay, so again, I ran into one little issue as I was assembling that. I should have put the divider assembly in before I had put on that front rail. I could have slid it in and did it. I didn't do it that way. I decided after I had it all clamped up that all I just took out these 2 divider panels before the glue set, and I wiped the glue off. And then I put the bottom panel in and the dividers in separately because they wouldn't quite fit from the top going down in. It was close, but I couldn't get it in there. So I just readjusted and changed the way I did things, okay? Next thing I gotta do is I just have to attach the dividers using those pocket holes that we created. I don't know if you can see them in this. You can't? Yeah, right here. Pocket hole here, and there's 2 more on this other side. So what I've done is I've taken a square. I made sure that this is perfectly square. I made a couple of marks in the back so I know if it went off square as I'm drilling them in. We use pocket hole screws, which if you look at them, they got a flat head as opposed to the drywall screws that we were using earlier that has that wedge shaped head. We don't want to use a wedge in the pocket hole because that'll tend to crack it, all right, and break it out. So we'll use a flat head, and if you look at the other end of it, it also has the tip of it also has a little cutout right there. I don't know if you can see it right at the tip, which actually drills a pilot hole in front of the threads. So you also prevent cracking, especially when you're using pocket holes to join pieces really close to an end. It tends not to crack, whereas drywall screws would do that. So let me put these together using the pocket holes. Now we've got it. Same thing on this one, slightly off in the front. Make sure that we push that over when we do it. I was actually struggling a little bit trying to get this last screw in and hold it square at the same time. So out comes a little clamp. Clamp that over, push it over until you get it exactly square, and it's like a third hand. Now that the divider panels are in place, I can tack on these two little front finish pieces. I'll bring over a little brad nailer and we'll glue and tack those on next. All right, so I've got my pin nailer with about 1 1/8 inch nails in it. Got my bottle of glue and my pieces to put on. Just a little bit of glue down the back, not too much. A nice snug fit. Okay, we're getting close now. We just have a couple of cleats that we need to put in to secure that top down, and I'll finish off the top by sanding it and cutting it down to size, and we can screw that on. So the cleats that are going to hold on the top they look like this. They're going to get screwed on, one over here and one right over here. Now, the back portion of the cleat just has a regular hole, through hole with a countersink. The front portion, we've elongated the holes, just using a drill bit, drilling a couple holes and cleaning out the part in between so that we can allow for expansion and contraction across the width of that seat panel, the seat. Okay, so that's why we elongated those, and I'll put those in with the pocket hole screws with the flat bottom of the head of the screw. Okay, I'm going to do that now. So I've just finished sanding the top, cutting it to length first and width, and now I've got to cut 2 notches on the back to account for that, for the space for the legs. So I'm going to do that again with the jigsaw, just like I did before. Okay. Well, as you can see, I've got the top all fit. It still can come off. We still have to paint the whole base assembly and then put coats of finish. We're going to use lacquer, clear finish, on this bench top, and then we can screw the top down.